I'd like to thank Andre from Portland for sending this mic to me at a time where I needed it to improve the audio quality of these videos. And this video, I'm going to talk about the marriage between Google Plus and YouTube. I saw a compelling video this morning where a gentleman, a YouTube user, uploader, was sharing some of his frustrations with YouTube as of recently. He's not the only one, and he is attributing this to this connection with Google Plus, which he has noted has been functioning in some fairly counterintuitive ways, similar to MySpace. We all may remember MySpace. I remember I used MySpace to get my videos out there in 2005 and 2006 through the use of their bulletin board services. That was pretty classic. That was awesome what they had going on at the time. Once they changed the functions of MySpace and made it harder for us to actually reach other people with our own content. Then there was a mass exodus from MySpace to Facebook. When now Google Plus is attracting more and more users, but it's not something that I chose to subscribe to or sign up to. It just happened by being a part of YouTube, which really isn't giving your user very many options. Google's creepy enough with their involvement with government activities. So now they've got our YouTube activity linked in with this Google Plus activity. It's like we're being linked in directly with what the government is doing. Not to mention what's happening on the corporate level, the financial level. Look at the ads. More and more ads that are popping up on YouTube. And through Google Analytics, through the fact that we're allowed to run ads on our YouTube channel, I think actually motivates certain people out there in the YouTube community to put out sensational material in order for them to get as many hits as they possibly can get. So this is going to be a big issue in the future for people getting out their information, this consolidation when it comes to these websites, Facebook, YouTube, MySpace, Facebook, et cetera, et cetera. Actually, MySpace isn't really in the game anymore. It's been turned into more of a music site, apparently, and I logged back in just to see what happened to my account, what it looks like, see if the page was changed up, and all my contacts were gone. Every single contact. And there were a few thousand there, even though I wasn't using MySpace. Who were they to say, hey, you know what, we're going to just clear things up a little bit and just eliminate all of your contacts and networks? I'm not shook up about it, but you see those things happen with sites that you used to use. Why do you think Facebook would be any different? Or YouTube? There are some stories from a few weeks ago. Some people logged into their Facebook or tried to, and they said that they couldn't get in unless they entered their government ID. It really threw people off. It was within a few weeks of the EBT cards not working. In that one story. So there are glitches in this world. And Facebook and YouTube and Google Plus are not exempt. Now, Google Plus doesn't look very good. It looks very simple. On a positive note, a lot of my Google contacts, I guess, people have added me, are sharing my videos, my YouTube videos. And that's pretty cool. It helps that, there's a feed from YouTube going straight to Google Plus that posts the videos. So that may seem to be kind of an upside, but when you look at the layout, it's not a very pretty layout. So, obviously in my head, a lot of questions have been there for some time. And I've never felt right about Google Plus or even Google Voice, which isn't even that good of a service. I'm just now using Google Voice. Sometimes it doesn't work for certain numbers. It actually will not work for certain calls. So, this is a data collection system. These websites, there's a lot of voluntary data that we put out there that we're assuming is somehow or another just going to be erased at a certain point in time. And we're actually finding out more and more information, evidence every single day that the opposite, in fact, is true. The purpose of this video is that, I don't like the way they've changed YouTube and some of these functions. And I know there's, my videos have taken a little bit of a different theme since I went off grid. And I know that attracted some new viewers, but I know that I've also lost some viewers. So it's frustrating when I make certain videos and, there's only 20 views or 30 views, especially if I put a lot of time and effort into the video. But what I also know from being a Google or a YouTube user, a viewer, not just a content creator, is that I have to know the name of the YouTube channel that I want to go check out if I'm going to check out their latest stuff. Just because I may subscribe to someone doesn't mean that they're going to be at the top of the list. Unfortunately, there are certain personalities that I have subscribed to over the years on YouTube and a couple other networks that are always at the top. And they don't seem to have an easy function for me to say, put this at the bottom. Put him at the bottom. Put RT at the bottom. Put Press TV at the bottom. Show me the underdogs. Put the underdogs at the top. That's what I'm here for. I'm not here for more of the same old mainstream media or alternative media that's really mainstream alternative media. Tip of the spear. No. Push that stuff to the side. I want to see the underdogs. I, Alex Ansary, as a YouTube user, currently know of no function on my YouTube subscribers list to put my favorite channels in a linear order. If you know of something like that, let me know. But they should leave that kind of an option as to what shows up on their feed up to the person that subscribed to those channels. Because it certainly looks and appears to me that YouTube markets certain videos to me simply based on my searches on the internet. And I've seen YouTube on more than one occasion, multiple occasions, push disinformation from the EU Times, which I've literally just gone off about on Facebook and on YouTube about these disinformation, what appears to be these intelligence services putting out these fake reports about Russians invading the United States in October 2013 to the tune of 15,000 troops. I can get in more involved in talking about this particular disinfo story, but I have seen YouTube time and time again try to get me to fall for, and some could say, oh, it's just because it's a popular video and there are search terms that may be lined up with things that I'm looking at, things like war, things like Russia, things like US, things like future events, other things that may be trending. And they will try to push certain things, in my opinion, this is what it looks like from my experience, disinformation videos to confuse us and throw us off the trail. Meanwhile, I've got a video about China doing a drill in Hawaii, a real story. And in that story, I'm discussing a couple things. I'm also doing another video in the last few days. I've done another video on this story about Chinese police cadets. They may soon be shadowing Houston police officers after working with the Leak City Police Department in Texas. And those two videos have virtually no views whatsoever. Like 50 on one, 30 on the other. That's okay. Okay, so people aren't interested in that particular story. But wait a minute. Why does this disinformation story from the EU Times have 1 million hits? It's not a real report. It didn't happen. It takes things that could happen maybe in a few years, distorts them with disinformation articles that they link to. They commonly link to themselves. And this article on YouTube has 1 million views. So these are things that I'm bringing up. I'm bringing up the fact that this Google Plus, Google partnership may lead to some sort of a YouTube apocalypse at some point in the future. And we may want to have contingency plans. We may want to think about these problems with Facebook, people not being able to log in and other glitches. This is just the beginning of a lot of things that we're going to be seeing with Facebook. The only thing I can do is encourage you to sign up to my newsletter at alexansary.tv. And even though I'm not using that function yet, I'm gathering emails so that if something does happen to my Facebook page, if something does happen to my YouTube page, you can be pretty sure that if I'm alive, if the internet's working and functioning, that I'm going to be sending something out over email. I also am of the philosophy that we shouldn't be dependent on Facebook and YouTube. If we're aware of these things that aren't right, we shouldn't let those be the sole ways or methods of sending and receiving our alternative media content. Unfortunately, my hands are partially tied. Unless I put this out on YouTube, unless I put this out on Google+, unless I put this out on Facebook, no one's going to hear this. So this is a really weird contradiction. I'm talking about the dangers of consolidating all your eggs in one basket in these corporate controlled, NSA controlled social media corporate websites. But unless I actually put out my alternative media content on these corporate controlled, NSA controlled websites, unless I do that, you're not going to hear this. You're only going to see the information that you are intending to go out and see. And if you only log into Facebook and YouTube to get your information, you're getting it through a controlled filtering process. There are less people today that go directly to their favorite website, that have an RSS feed of their favorite website. Facebook and YouTube and Google Plus and many other examples have consolidated everything in one place and made it seemingly easier in the way that the smartphone, in the way that the Android, funny how they call it a droid, how it's made things so easy for people to access so much in the palm of their hand. It's almost like magic. Yet, by being able to Google certain things, it hasn't necessarily made the population smarter. When Google will automatically tell you, did you mean to spell it this way? Did you mean this? Did you mean that? Oh, actually, yes, I meant that. And there's lots of ways that we can use technology to help us gather information and get things out there, but it's also something that can make us a lot lazier, especially when we're dependent on it, when we're used to our posts going up in these feeds, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Consider these things and consider the voices that you really appreciate that are out there. Maybe this is one of them. Maybe it's not. But if this is one of those voices that you do appreciate, consider the day after tomorrow. Not so much in the movie sense of Earth changes, but not that that's not going to happen, but in the terms of a true Facebook, YouTube apocalypse. Think about a nuke going off. And instead of there just being dead bodies everywhere, just picture a situation where you are not able to log into your, how there's fantasy football, your fantasy revolution think tank playing ground. Because in a way, taking the revolution to Facebook is like fantasy football or something like that, or some other form of fantasy. It is something that almost parallels the obsession with video games today. When you think the revolution is solely through a few websites, and I have to go through those websites to even get you this message, Houston, we have a motherfucking problem. Do you have copy? Do you check? Houston, we have a problem. There is definitely a problem with information sharing and gathering and networking and activism being consolidated on a few corporate-controlled, NSA-controlled websites. Consider subscribing to the RSS feeds of those that you appreciate, of those that you listen to. Consider becoming, giving up your email to at least someone you can trust. You've already done it with Facebook and YouTube and the NSA. You know you've done that if you're able to hear my voice. Consider signing up to someone's newsletter. So in the case of a Facebook apocalypse or YouTube apocalypse, you can get the information from your trusted source. And that's a whole other area of discussion, where you get your information. And if you can keep trusting some of your sources when they feed you disinformation. Those are things to consider. I've considered them over the years. There are people that I've trusted for years, and when I see people go down the road of posting disinformation or leading their listeners astray, I go the other direction. As for myself, I'm only responsible for myself, and Facebook and YouTube is not responsible for me getting out this message. So, even though my site's gone down, alexansary.com a few years ago, now alexansary.tv is up online. And so basically this newsletter sign-up thing is being started from scratch, even though I've wanted to do it for years. So it's going to take some time to get a significant amount of people signed up. Right now I'm at 77. By the end of 2014, I would like that to be at least at 1,000. By the end of 2013, hopefully we can break 100. But I think that's ridiculously small with 2,400 subscribers on YouTube, with 3,400 contacts on Facebook. Obviously, there's a lot of people out there that aren't even getting the memo or message that I'm trying to get people signed up to the newsletter. So I think that's more evidence that we've actually boxed ourselves in with this dependency on these corporate controlled, NSA controlled social media websites. Thank you for listening.